We're getting a lot of biased reporting on the riots in Los Angeles. The governor of California, Gavin Newsom, the mayor of Los Angeles, Karen Bass, have come down decidedly on the side of the violent protesters against the federal government trying to enforce federal immigration law. And yet, I was looking at the polls today. Given all the negative views of Donald Trump on the economy, he still has a 17-point lead over the Democrats when the public is asked, who do you have greater confidence in, Donald Trump or the Democrats, to manage the economy? The criticism of Donald Trump is not resonating with the people on all those issues, and yet the left doesn't see that. And so they just hammer away on unpopular issues, and they wonder why people are kind of tired of them. They seem disconnected from reality. Hello, this is Victor Davis Hanson for the Daily Signal. I was looking at the polls today. Given all the negative views of Donald Trump on the economy, he still has a 17-point lead over the Democrats when the public is asked, who do you have greater confidence in, Donald Trump or the Democrats, to manage the economy? We're getting a lot of biased reporting on the riots in Los Angeles. The governor of California here, Gavin Newsom, the mayor of Los Angeles, Karen Bass, have come down decidedly on the side of the violent protesters against the federal government trying to enforce federal immigration law. And yet, with all of that bias and prejudicial news reporting, 54% of the American people favored deportation, not just apprehension, deportation. And then when we look at the transgender issue, that's been in the news because there was a baseball game in Minnesota where a boy, just a biological male, a transgendered female, if you will, dominated sports and kept pitching inning after inning to ensure their victory. We had one here in Clovis, California, the same type of situation where a biological male dominated the sporting event, taking the awards away from his female competitors. Same thing in northern United States in Washington. So what I'm getting at is that the criticism of Donald Trump is not resonating with the people on all those issues. He polls favorably. And why is that? I think it's a disconnect. I've talked about the Wall Street Journal in the past. They seem disconnected from reality after they told us we would now be in a recession. The stock market would be in the proverbial toilet, if you will. It would not recover. There would be high inflation and that didn't happen. We just looked at the news. Inflation down, job growth good, unemployment steadily low, personal savings and real wages up. Record profits for the Standard & Poor index. And yet, when you look at the Wall Street Journal, they've learned nothing and forgotten nothing. Most of their studies today, their stories today, and I'm speaking over the weekend and early part of next week, what are they talking about? They're talking about a recession coming and people are jittery, but their own news stories do not validate their headlines. So the same thing is true of the transgender. People think that's a popular issue. That is a losing issue. Donald Trump is on the right side, 70-30 of the American people, just as he is on the economy. They believe that if you have fair and not just free trade, it's in our interest. They believe that if you cut federal spending, it's in our interest. They believe, in the case of the Los Angeles riots, they do not want another May, June, July, August, September 2020. They do not want their officials like Kamala Harris saying these demonstrations are not going to end, they're going to go on till election. They don't want that. They do not want a Governor Tim Walz's wife saying that she opened up the window so she could smell the burning from the rioting. They don't want that. So he nationalized the Guard, and when Gavin Newsom, the governor of our state, sides with the protesters, and the mayor, Karen Bass, sides with the protesters, who are now violent, we say to themselves, is there something about fire you like? You didn't do anything about the fires in Pacific Palisades. You had policies that discouraged conservation of the hillsides and reasonable trimming and clearing of bushes and shrubs. Didn't you learn from that? Mayor Bass, you You were in Ghana, of all places. Didn't you learn from that? So why would you and Governor Newsom attack the federal government for trying to enforce a federal law and then using federal troops to restore order so we don't have a 2020-like riot? And what credibility do you have when you're saying reckless and chaotic? The government. What's reckless and chaotic is right before our eyes. People burning and looting. So what am I talking about? I'm talking about the left's insane opposition to anything Donald Trump does when the evidence is clear that the economy is doing well, that most people want deportations and an orderly immigration process and favor deportation to people who broke the law, and that they don't want biological males in female sports. And yet the left doesn't see that. And so they just hammer away on unpopular issues, and they wonder why people are kind of tired of them and why Donald Trump seems to be more popular than ever and more successful. It's because he reflects what the people want, and the people who oppose him don't. Thank you very much. This is Victor Davis Hanson for the Daily Signal. Thank you for tuning in to the Daily Signal. Please like, share, and subscribe to be notified for more content like this. You can also check out my own website at victorhanson.com and subscribe for exclusive features in addition.